Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video today, we are going to be doing a holiday Q&A because you all know that I love phoning in content here in the holidays, because you do too. Because if you're like working, let's be honest, you're not really working if you're working around the Christmas holidays. And I'm not really either, which is why I'm doing a really easy, low effort video for you all today, which is a Q&A. You guys ask Qs and I give you As, and it's super exciting and fun, and that's the whole idea. You know what a Q&A is. I took some questions from YouTube, some questions from Instagram, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So grab a coffee, grab a glass of wine, do what you need to do, because you're gonna be here a while, maybe some eggnog, that's fun. Well, let's get going. Okay, first question. I am going to ask, this was all questions about the house. When am I moving into the house? What's happening? When are we getting updates, right? I think you're posting info on your new build project in the members only channel. Would you be willing to share some of the details with us, with the rest of us as well? Thank you so much. Yes, I got lots of questions about this. This was by far the #1 question. First of all, yes, I do give more like behind the scenes vloggy stuff over on my members only stuff. And we do a monthly live over there. And we also do little videos like this that are like little updates here and there. And I do that for the members, but for all of the regular viewers of the YouTube channel, of course, come February, that's when I will actually start doing content on the new build, because that is when I'm gonna be moving into my new home. That is the plan, assuming that the city of Vancouver gives me your permits. So if you work for the city, hi, could you please approve that? That'd be amazing. No pressure, like we're going by the book, but I'm just saying, like, it would be really great if you just stamp that approved, and then we can get going. Because we're thinking February is when the house is gonna come down. So that's when you're gonna see me move into a new background, like, well, it'll be a home, not just a background. And I'll be there, and I'm renting an apartment for like a year or so, and this house will be deconstructed, and we'll go from there. Now, in terms of content, just so you guys know, probably like 2 or 3 videos a month you can expect stuff about the house. The first few months is gonna be like after February, is gonna be a lot of like, Nick goes shopping, Nick goes like hardwood, let's get some hardwood flooring, let's go get some tile, let's do appliances, let's do whatever, and it's gonna be a lot of that style of stuff, and design meetings and renderings and all that really good stuff. And then the content as the house gets built, because at the beginning it's just gonna be like foundation and not super exciting. Like no one wants to see me vlog a slab of concrete. Well, maybe you do, but you know, probably not an entire video's worth of content there. So once the house starts to get a little bit more interesting, that's when you'll start to see the content shift and be a little bit more like vlog style. Let's go to the site, let's talk to the contractor, let's deal with the architect, the designer, blah, 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 and let's like see it all work through and as we go forward. So I would say expect content February, March, and you can expect it to be about a year's worth of content, and it's gonna be a lot of stuff. I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos on the subject, probably like, I don't know, 30, 40 videos or something on this house, probably when all is said and done. So you're gonna, if HGTV does a whole entire renovation in 30 minutes, you can expect that I'm gonna do 20-minute episodes times by 40 videos. So it's like, it's heavy, okay? There's a lot of stuff, short form stuff. You can expect shorts and TikToks and Instagram reels and all the things, stories, and of course, dedicated YouTube videos throughout the year. So look forward to that. February is the date you're gonna probably start to see some stuff happen. At least you'll know when I move into my new house. Okay, next up, Q&A. Let's keep it moving. How is AI impacting the world? Why can't I speak today? How is AI impacting the world of design? I think that it's moving very quickly and people cannot keep up. Now, let's talk about AI for a second. Obviously, there's like a lot of concerns about electrical consumption and stealing of work, theft of work, and you know, the environment and all the rest of it. But in terms, so let's acknowledge that that is a challenge, but let's also talk about the fact that yes, AI is a reality. It's everywhere. I will say also, just, you didn't ask about how it is as a content creator, but it's crazy. Like when I started on YouTube 5 years ago, there was no AI photos. Now we have to sift through to make sure that we don't put any in. I can't say that we've never had one sneak through, although I think we've been pretty good, just because like it's so easy for content creators, just type something into ChatGPT, create an image, and then use that like exactly what you want. We really try to find photos that we think demonstrate whatever we're trying to talk about in the YouTube video, and we try really hard to do that just because, well, that's what we want to do. And it's my channel, I can do what I want. So we tried to do it, but it's difficult because so many of the images now are AI. Now, in terms of how it's impacting design, I think it's impacting design in several ways. I think there are really interesting applications for designers to make their jobs easier. So for example, let's say you're doing something like you're doing a client presentation, and you're doing SketchUp and whatever, and you've got a whole plan, and then it takes a long time for you to build some of this stuff manually, to build these renders, for example, manually. But theoretically, as it gets better and better, you're in a client meeting, instead of going back and saying, hey, let me make that change and come back to you, you can theoretically just say, hey, what would that tile look like in this? What would that couch look like in blue instead of green, right? And you can theoretically, on the fly, create some of this stuff really quickly, which I think is really interesting, right? Also, you know, there's just a lot of work that designers do around CAD and all these different pieces of software, and AI has the potential to automate a lot of that work that is being done by especially sort of junior and mid-level designers, I think. So it frees up designers to spend more time being creative and less time doing the nuts and bolts. And I only know that really because I don't do that work, but because a lot of these AI companies reach out to me and I talk to a lot of designers. So that's what I'm hearing. I think for the casual user, again, it's really good parking a lot of the like AI steals work and is bad for the environment thing for just a hot second. I think it does help a lot of people with visualization. So you can just go, hey, here's a few examples of, you know, furniture I really like, throw it in and see if you can help me visualize what this would look like together. And that is, I think some people do find that helpful. So that it will only continue. I think for the short and medium term, it's probably just going to be tools to help people, including designers, sort of visualize and all the rest. In the long run, who knows? I have no idea. That's above my pay grade. At that point, I will be an AI chatbot for you all, and I will be on a beach somewhere while AI Nick does all the work. That's the plan, okay? So Google, call me. That's eventually probably gonna happen. Okay, do you have any advice for when you like multiple styles? Sorry, I'm gonna move quicker because these are taking a long time. Any advice for you that you have for how to incorporate multiple styles together? Like how do they work together? I did a video on this like 150 years ago, which I'll link here. But basically, I would say focus on the areas of the different design styles that where they're similar and where they're really different, and work for ways that you can sort of find those similarities, right? So if you're like, I like industrial, but I also like farmhouse, there's lots of overlap there. You know, if you're like, I really like these postmodern shapes, but I really like organic modern, it's like, cool, you can do a palette that maybe is more organic modern, but maybe you just get a little bit more sculptural with some of your furniture pieces, right? So there is overlap in some of these spaces, some of these design styles, and I think that's where you find that common ground that can work. Also a bit of an 80-20 rule happening. So like 80% one style, pick a dominant style, and then supplement with little pieces from another style, I think can be really effective. Some styles are just really, really different and really difficult to work together and might not necessarily work, in which case, you know, like if you like glam and organic modern, it's like, I don't know if a, you know, mirrored furniture combined with organic wood-shaped coffee table is necessarily going to work. So you might just have to pick a lane there. But if you find that people tend to like similar-ish styles, in which case look for overlap and go from there. Let's pop over to Instagram. What is your job? This is it. A lot of people don't believe that content creation is a full-time job, but when I do like 1 or 2 videos a week, plus doing a lot of brand partnerships, which are way more work than you probably imagine they would be. Plus, you know, I've got Eden who's helping me, and I've got 2 editors, and I've got a management team, and like, it's a lot. And this is my full-time gig. I don't have clients. I'm not an interior designer in this. I don't do clients. That's not what I do. Okay, it's a different job. I would say I'm a content creator who talks about interior design. Next up, are Edison bulbs out of style? I liked Edison bulbs at one point, but here's the thing. I'm gonna say that practically speaking, if we're being real and just forgetting about the in and out cycle of trends, the challenge with something like an Edison bulb it's just that it's, in order for you to need to pay the premium for a fancy bulb, it's gonna be an exposed bulb. And in general, no matter what time or what's in style or what's not, exposed bulbs are not particularly flattering both on people and also on spaces, right? It's really good to filter your light, which is usually why, no matter what, people benefit from a lampshade or some sort of covering that helps, like for example, recessed lighting or you know, under cabinet lighting or toe kick lighting. Like if it's so harsh with an exposed bulb, it's not flattering, no one looks good, nothing looks good. And so the problem with an Edison bulb, again, whether it's in or out or not, it's always going to be true. You might like the look of them. They will oftentimes cast really poor light on people and spaces. And so I admit, I also like an Edison bulb. I think that they can be super fun, but an exposed light in general is oftentimes not always the most flattering. So I think a lot of people, whether it's a trend or not, or just good design, people are reaching for diffuse lighting and more subtle, warm lighting in their home, which I do appreciate because I do think it's the right move. And so, you know, why spend a whole bunch of money on super fancy bulbs that you're never gonna see because ultimately you're just gonna put a lampshade on it. So they are kind of out of style, but there's problems with Edison bulbs no matter what. But if you love them, go for it, of course. Pick the lesser evil for your home. Choose cheesy word signs, mismatch lighting, or maximalist decor. LOL. Well, look at you, Allie J. I am going to have to say that the lesser, I was gonna say, can I pick the worst of the 3? I guess, I mean, cheesy word signs, whatever. Maximalist decor. Ugh. Probably maximalism is probably the best of the bunch. The worst is clearly mismatched lighting, okay? You can give me a maximalist decor, but if you've got a beautiful lighting plan, you can make it look decent. You can have live, laugh, love on your walls, but if you've got decent lighting, you're good. If you have a mental hospital in your home, it doesn't matter if you buy the most beautiful furniture in the entire world, you can go in and get your whole home decked out in something super amazing, but if you have bad lighting, it sucks. So mismatched lighting is the worst of the three. I'm not sure that was really your question, but that's what you're gonna get. What brand are your waffle jumpers? First of all, I can tell you're British and that's very adorable jumpers. I think I know the ones you're talking about because I love a sweater, obviously. Lululemon is where I get my waffle jumpers. If it's the one, I've had it, I used to have it in cream 100 years ago, but eventually it kind of went. And then I have it in black and burgundy, and now I have it in green. I'm sorry, but when I buy something and when I like it, I just kind of buy the same thing in a few different colors. and honestly, you want to talk about value, my friends? I have probably worn some of those, like the black, and you've seen them in like 15 videos per sweater, probably, and I probably wore them more than that. I just really love them. They're comfortable, they last, I put them in the dryer, and they wear well. What can I say? Okay, next up, Haley says, what do you love/hate most about viewer engagement? DMs, comments, reviews, etc. I love hate. Okay, I'll be honest, when it comes to the comment section, here's my strategy, and this is just to preserve my own mental health, okay? Video goes live at 9 a.m. on a Saturday Pacific Standard Time. I don't think I've ever missed an upload, okay? I will probably go back a few times throughout the day, maybe until the evening of Saturday, and keep looking at comments and hearting and responding and commenting back to you guys and just like seeing what bubbles up to the surface. It's like the comments that I wanna see. And then I don't look at the video again, and I don't look at the comments again. I never rewatch old videos. If you've seen a video of mine from 3 years ago, guaranteed you've seen it more recently than me because I saw it 3 years ago when I filmed it. I don't rewatch my old videos ever, and I don't revisit comments from years gone by or even in a video that's longer than like 48, 72 hours. And that's again because it preserves my mental health, because I'll be real, after time, once the algorithm starts figuring out and sending my video out to like the weird corners of the internet, there's just a lot of really, really negative comments. And I'm not saying people have the right to share their negative comments, go for it, but I also have the right not to read them. So I just kind of like, this is truly an area where ignorance is bliss. So that's how I handle comments. And I'm also really lucky because I don't, unless they're out there and I don't know, I rarely see a video, a TikTok, a YouTube, whatever, where someone's really like talking about me. Like I'm not in the drama, I'm not in the whatever, and that makes it easier. So pretty much like if you search Nick Lewis on YouTube, you're probably just gonna come up with my videos. Like I'm never really in, so I don't know what it would be like to be like James Charles, where just like people are making videos about you all day. And he's maybe brought a lot of that on himself, but you know, I'm not one of those creators that is discussed, and that makes it really, really easy. And I don't know if it's my age, I don't know if it's because I'm boring, I don't know, but I'm happy with both of those things. So to me, I just don't really get involved with that, which makes it easy because then you don't have to really witness yourself being like, have people talking about you kind of when you're not around, because people say horrible things behind your back when they think you're not watching, and so people think I'm not seeing them. So anyway, the best parts are, I mean, I look at all your lovely comments that you guys leave on YouTube, which I love, love, love. My favorites are when people come up to me on the street, because people are always so lovely. If I travel, it's amazing. People, for some reason, really stop me in airports a lot. I don't know why. I guess people are moving and maybe they think this is my one chance. I don't know, but like people stop in airports and I think that's great. I think most airports, I feel like someone has come up to me, and it's wonderful because you just like share your stories, and I remember them all, right? It's like, oh, I did my kitchen renovation last year and my wife and I loved your videos. Like I love them. I love the in-person are always my favorite. Okay, apart from Eden, anyone else in your YouTube team, any agency that handles sponsors? Yes, I have Eden, she's full-time, and then I have Alex and Susie, who are my two editors, and they're amazing, and they edit all the videos. Eden does some occasionally, like she's done a couple, but for the most part, Alex and Susie edit everything, and they work with Eden and I on getting the videos from me in front of the camera to on YouTube, and it takes probably 3 to 5 versions to get there with iterations and feedback and whatever to get it actually uploaded to YouTube. And then I also have a brand team. I'm repped by a company now for almost a year, which was great. Jenna Phipps, she's another creator on here if you guys watch her. She actually recommended this agency and I went with them, and I've been very, very happy. I've been working with them for a year and they have been wonderful. So Lily and the team over at Night Management have been great. And so they handle a lot of like the getting me sponsors. I have final say on everything, of course, and then they come back and they do a lot of like the stick handling, because believe it or not, it's like getting the links, getting the like product, getting the the description text and all that stuff that the brands have to give is sometimes not easy, especially when you're doing videos and stuff every week. So they do a really great job sort of handling a lot of the admin and back and forth, which is great. So that's my team. Would you dump someone for being a bad decorator? Thank you, the mic justice. I would not. I would not. I think it would be nice. It's nice to be with someone I think that has a passing interest in the home, because I just think like it is obviously an interest and passion of mine. But having said that, I don't think it's necessary for someone to share. Like one person can be really into video games and the other person's not. And like, I don't think it necessarily means that the relationship's in trouble, but I do think that like you are living there. So being respectful of the home would be important to me. Like I'm not interested in some person with the mentality of like a teenager, the home, you know what I mean? Like if you don't care at all, I think that would be a bit of an issue. But the other thing is, do you value and respect what I do? And A, for a living, but B, also like the work that I do to try to keep a beautiful home. And I would hope that even if the person themselves didn't care about the home, that they still respected and valued what I brought to the table, because that's what I would want to do for them. So it's not important. In fact, you could make an argument that if a person's really into decor and so am I, and we have different tastes, that might actually cause more problems, to be honest. So no, I wouldn't dump someone for their bad decor. Coffee table, yes or no? Yes, I am on team coffee table. What other teams are there? Team ottoman? No. It can't hold a coaster, so it can't, I don't screw with that. Not doing it. No, I'm team coffee table, yes. How did you get into content creation, specifically about homes? Mr. Ben by Design. Oh gosh, how much time do you got? Well, it's 2020. Let me take you back to a pandemic. I was working on a business because I was really struggling for a few years before. I didn't really know what to do. I had sold a previous company and I was really like, what do I want to do next? What do I want to do? And I was always interested and passionate about interior design. When I had owned my juice bar before, I loved the creation of design, like the design process and the build out and all the rest. And then once I kind of like thought, hey, I want to do something in that world, like an e-commerce business or whatever. And I actually did that for a while until I was like, well, I need to like market this, whatever business I do. Like I need to just put myself out there. You know, I was spending a good few years just like sitting around thinking like, what am I going to do, and trying, but not really committing. And I thought, screw it. I'm just going to go make a YouTube channel. And I did. And I really loved it. And which is crazy because I'd never made a video before. The first video ever on YouTube is the first video I've ever made in my life. And I really loved it. And then here I am 5 years later, somehow miraculous. I don't get it. Somehow it's a job. Somehow it's a business. What advice would you give an interior design student? I'm probably not the person to ask because again, I'm a content creator. I am not an interior designer. So it's a very different job, right? You're dealing with client services, you're project managing over there with that business. Very different than what I do, which is this, right? Sit and chitty chat to the camera, managing editors, like blah, blah, blah. It's a different whole thing. So I'm like more in common with another YouTuber talking about tech or food or something, you know what I mean? Or even a person that works at Dwell magazine. Like it's a very different job. It's a media job, not a designer job, if that makes sense. So I would though give the advice I give a lot of, because I did work in HR before for many years. And I would say that focus on a job that get a good manager and a good firm that gets you in front of really interesting projects. I probably wouldn't jump out on my own right away because I would take the time to learn the skills that I need to be a great designer, learn from an amazing senior designer. If you can find a wonderful mentor and work on really cool, interesting projects, then that's a great start. Like I would focus on like who's designing the best restaurants, the best homes, whatever in the city. I can go work for that person. I'll work for that person for not a free internship because that's basically like free labor and I don't like that, but like I would work for minimal just to be able to get that job versus like a corporate job or a corporate gig or something, which might pay you better initially, but you're just not gonna get the experience that you're gonna get from like a really senior, amazing designer. So that's what I would do. Focus on great projects, developing your skills in CAD and all the things that you're going to need that are gonna pay off in the long run. Plans for more React videos, the casually explain interior design video. I did see the casually explained video. Many of you have sent that video to me. It's very funny, it's very clever, and he's not wrong. I think it's actually a very, very cute, wonderful video. I'll link it down below. He doesn't need me to link it. He's got like a couple of million views already in like a week. It's a very, very cute, wonderful video, and I do agree with it. I don't usually do React videos. I've done like 2, probably maybe 1 in the entire, that's not true. I react to TikToks, but those are just stupid. I don't react to a lot of YouTube, like Architectural Digest tours and stuff. Maybe I should. I just always think that React stuff is very, I'm not gonna say it's cheap, but like, I don't love this thing that's happening on social media now. I should maybe do another video on my second channel for this, which is like this idea of just like taking videos that other people did and just like strictly reacting to it or stitching it or causing drama or calling people out. Like, it's really engaging and fun for the audience. I get it. When you're sitting there scrolling on your phone and you're seeing like this drama or you're seeing these stitches and people calling each other out and making fun of each other or whatever, I get that it's really compelling, interesting content. I just think as a creator, it's just not my vibe. It's not what I want to do. I just like being silly and funny on the internet. And if you guys love it and you're able to learn something and create a beautiful home for yourselves, that makes me happy. Like, that's my thing. And I just don't know, sometimes the React stuff, just what you guys want me to do is to go look at Dakota Johnson's kitchen or look at this ugly thing or look at this. And I know you're like, but Nick, don't you kind of do that on your channel? Like, kinda, but like, it's less personal. The thing is with reaction is it's very personal to the person or the creator or whatever that's doing it. Me, I just make up silly stuff. Like, I've had people, when I make fun of people in their photos and I'm like, look at this kitchen. Some people message me and go, hey, you used my photo in your YouTube video. But thankfully, every single one of them has been a good sport about it. But again, I felt horrible. I was like, oh my God, which is obviously stupid of me because someone took that photo. Someone lives there. So when I make fun of stuff, like, I do understand there's a person behind it, but I think in my head, it feels a little bit less, it feels more impersonal because it's like, yes, I'm making fun of the kitchen, but I'm not making fun of the person. But like React content and blah, blah, blah just feels very like I'm making fun of the person. And I just think there's already enough of that on the internet. I don't know, maybe my line in the sand is stupid and maybe I just whatever, but that's why I don't do React videos typically. I just don't really always feel comfortable with them because I just know what people want out of them and it's just not what I'm prepared to give. So there you go. But the Casual Explained video is very cute and he did nothing that I would make fun of, just yeah. Okay, the other second, I've avoided this one this long, but I will say this is the second most common question everybody asks me, which is, how come you're visiting the Netherlands quite often nowadays? And there's like a little nerd emoji. I get this a lot. Why are you in Amsterdam? Are you dating someone in Amsterdam? Are you dating? Are you single? Are you this? Are you that? I get it. There's a billion of those, and I'm just gonna wrap it up in this question. Yes, I am currently seeing somebody. Yes, they live in Amsterdam. Yes, I'm very, very happy. Yes, there is an amazing, wonderful story that I will share at a later date. This is not the time to get into it, but I am very, very happy, I will say that. So that is why I go to the Netherlands, and that is why I'm staying at his place. And yes, he knows that the art and the wall is hung way too high in the apartment. He knows that. You can stop in the comment section. He knows, okay, he's living in a rental and he doesn't want to put new holes in the wall, and that's why he's just there temporarily. It's a long story. Point is, we know about the art, let it go. Best ways to display family photos. My mom has some ridiculously huge ones, and we never hung most of them up after blah, 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 blah. I'm hanging them up anyway, right? Here's the thing, like, I did this in a recent video where I was like, things that are ugly that are actually awesome, and personal family photos was one of them, because I just think you should put your personality, you in your own home. It might not always be the most aesthetic thing in the world. You might have really ugly family members, but that doesn't matter. Put them up because you love them anyway. But I will say that there are nice ways to hang them up. Like, I think having beautiful spacing in between the, you know, in each frame, picking a simple frame that you use over and over again, right? A frame that you really enjoy, right? Have fun with it. The rules of sort of styling, whether it's styling shelves, styling walls, whatever, which I've got tons of stuff on the channel on that, still apply. But yes, use your family photos. If you buy those clustered ones that where everything has no spacing and it's like usually from like Walmart for like 20 bucks or something, and it's just like a whole bunch of different ones and they're all really tightly clustered together. You know the one I'm talking about? Those ones I don't really like, and sometimes that's what people do, and that's maybe why they're ugly. But I would, you know, there's beautiful ways that you can display art, and there's beautiful ways you can display family members. They can be a part of that story. So tell your mom to get them up there. Just, you know, do it well. What's the difference between Scandi, Japandi, neutrals, minimalist, and sad beige mom basic? I like a lot of the designs of Scandi and related styles, but worry I'd just be lumped in with the sad beige people and be called basic. First of all, Miss Gracie, stop caring about what other people think, because people will be calling you. Do you think for a second you're worried that everybody on what, TikTok, that doesn't even know you is gonna call you basic? I am seen in a room that has a lot of beige in it, and I have been called an almond mom and a sad beige person for a very long time as well, in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And I absolutely do not care, right? Here's the thing. So first of all, you know, in the end, if you love it, you love it. So, you know, if you like a Scandi, anybody that says that a Scandi space is not timeless, I'm sorry, they do not respect the history. You know, I'm sorry, but Scandinavian design is beautiful, is timeless, it's been around for a long time, and I'm sorry, but my hair is standing up on end, I will not listen to a 21-year-old tell me that Scandinavian design is basic when absolutely it has done more to transform the world of design this side of the Victorian era, like in the last 100 and something years. Do not listen to someone who is like, I'm sorry, who wasn't even alive at the turn of the century, tell you that some of the most classic, beautiful, architectural, amazing interior design style ever, Scandinavian design, is basic. No, I do not believe it. Put some respect on the style, okay? Now, the sad beige thing. Here's the thing. I think that a neutral home, a beautiful, like, neutral space can be gorgeous. My advice, which I've done many videos on the subject, is to make sure to add interesting shape and texture. Because if you're not gonna make it interesting through color, because you're choosing a monochromatic space, and that's fine, then feel free to use other ways to make it interesting. So, you know, shape and texture being really good examples of doing that, okay? So that's how I think you elevate the space. Now, no matter what, someone will call you an almond mom and chat basic, and it doesn't matter. So in the end, do what you want, but I would say there are some tips on how to achieve the look. A lot of the times when people use beige, or they're just using beige and they get called sad beige, it's because there's like no texture or nothing interesting happening in the space in any other way. But there's lots of ways that you can make a space feel beautiful and be interesting, and color is one of them, but you know, that's totally fine. The whole reason we had sad beige was a reaction to the gray and white that we saw before. In 2020, around the pandemic, color palettes shifted to be a little bit warmer, but also, you know, the beige came and became super, super popular. And that's really why neutral spaces are not going away. They were white before, then they were gray, and now they're beige again. And we're probably gonna go black next, or maybe we'll go back to gray, or who even knows what we're gonna do. But, you know, absolutely, it's great. The other thing I would consider is if you are going to stick in the beige realm, I would add on different sort of interesting tones of beige. And I know that sounds really silly because you're like, beige is beige. It's really not. Like, there's a whole world of brown and tan and chocolate and cream that exist in this realm that you can absolutely use, and it'll be beautiful and amazing. So I think that a lot of people hate on the sad beige because they hate on whatever's popular. That's the truth of it, right? And they think they're somehow special and interesting because they, you know, the amount of people that I see on TikTok that think that they're completely groundbreaking and interesting because they thrifted some 1990s sofa in teal, and now they all of a sudden think that they're the height of cool. Meanwhile, they crap on everybody that puts a beige couch in their home. When, you know, truthfully, there's lots of interesting ways to build a space, and there's nothing wrong with the color beige. Just like there's nothing wrong with gray. I know everyone's like, oh, I hate gray. And it's like, it's a neutral. I think all gray, some people overdo it. Yes, and you can probably overdo the beige as well, which is why I do think tonally having different things in there makes it a lot more interesting. But beige and brown and everything are not going away. I'm tired of hearing about it. Do what you want. Okay, what are your favorite paint colors? Perhaps you can do a whole video on this topic. You know what's funny? I used to do a million paint videos. I was like the IKEA guy on YouTube for a little while there. Then I was the paint guy, and then I became the guy who hates on all the interior, the guy who hates farmhouse guy. And now I don't know what I am, but yes, that is, I used to do a ton of paint videos, and I did a lot of like best neutrals, best white paints. You can find them all from like 2020, 2021. But I would say there is no correct paint choice. There are lots of, it's ultimately about the color palette that you're creating for the space. It's ultimately about the mood that you're trying to create in the space, and all that stuff really matters. Lighting plays a huge role in paint. So, you know, there's some really great ones that are out there, right? Depends on the color, right? If you want to paint your wall blue, there's lots of really interesting blues, right? So like Hail Navy is a classic navy blue choice. I had it in my old home, had it in my hallway, loved it. It's a great paint color. Lots and lots of wonderful paint colors. I will say though, that the color that, in my opinion, if someone's like, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck, what is your one paint color? If you put a gun to my head and said one paint color for the rest of your life, that's it, it would probably be Simply White by Benjamin Moore. It's my favorite white paint. It's brighter than like a lot of the other white paints that are out there, which I think makes it feel really fresh. But at the same time, it's a little bit warm, but it's not super warm. So it never reads as tan, or it never reads as too beigey, but it still feels very crisp and very white, but it's got a little bit of color and a little bit of life and a little bit of warmth. Unlike Chantilly lace, which a lot of people love, which to me is a little too stark, and it's a little bit like you just primed your walls and forgot to paint them. Simply White's got just that little bit of color. Most people, they're like, I'm gonna play around with lots of different whites, and then I'm like, just try Simply White, and most people people are happy with it. So if I had to say one paint color, it's simply white. Is it the best paint color? Well, it depends. If you want a room that's like moody, then no, the answer is probably choose something else. But I would say that's my like most adaptable favorite paint. But if you wanted to paint your color Bewitched by Benjamin Moore, which is amazing, I also wouldn't be mad about it because that color is also gorgeous. Hi Nick, I love your channel. When redoing a room, what should be selected first? Paint, flooring, furniture? I've had so many differing opinions within a strict budget. I can't purchase all at once. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to assume that we're not doing things like mechanical. We're not moving, you know, we're not moving fixed elements here. So, well, you mentioned flooring. So, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of a little bit like, where are you at in the process? But generally speaking, you're going to start with kind of like your mechanical. You're going to start to, you know, plumbing, electrical, like all that sort of stuff. I'm assuming all that's good. Are you taking down walls? Are you moving walls, right? Like these are big questions to answer. And that's kind of the first thing that you're really going to look at. And then from there, you're probably then going to really look at your fixed elements, right? What's the plan? Is there going to be tile? Are we going to do flooring? Are we going to do, you know, are we changing a bar? Like what are we doing here? What are we doing with all of our different fixed elements that are happening? Countertops, blah, 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 millwork, like all that stuff then starts to come in. But you're probably doing all this stuff a little bit all at once if it's like a whole project. And then you're starting to get into probably more furniture as you go down the road. So like what sofa are you going to choose? Where's your coffee table, right? Case goods and whatever. And you're probably going to have a little more fun there. And then you kind of get into decor and paint later. Decor and most designers, I mean, every designer has their own unique process, but a lot of people choose paint last. So like I'm designing my own house right now for the new place. We're in the mechanical stage. We're starting to move into finishes, but we're not quite there yet. And then I'm starting to kind of think of how furniture is going to factor in there. I haven't even thought about paint color. Like paint color is not on the agenda right now. That is something that comes later. So assuming you're not changing mechanical, you're not taking down walls, you're not doing whatever, which I'm going to include flooring as your fixed element so that we're not changing, you're going to probably go into furniture and then you're going to go into decor and then you're going to go into paint. That's probably the answer. Hi Nick, you're doing such a good job with both educating your viewers and giving your opinion in a witty and unapologetic way. Love your sense of humor. What is the feedback from professional designers? What are your relationships with them? Would you consider hiring one? I know that's 2 questions, but I'm curious. Thank you. Well, you win, Julia, and I'm going to give you 3 questions and maybe we'll see if I answer them. Okay, so professional designers, I have friends that are professional designers and I do go to professional designer-y events. I find that it's a bit of a mixed reaction sometimes. Like it's just not my world, you know, like it's really not my world. I know you probably think it would be, but it's really not. Like a lot of designers just don't know who I am. They don't watch design content, right? If you work in marketing, do you watch marketing content every night when you go home? Like you probably don't. And so a lot of designers just don't watch my content and they don't know who I am. And they're like, and that's totally fine. When they find out what I do, they're like, oh, that's cool. But they don't really like, there's not a whole lot of interest there necessarily. Some designers do, you know, I see people in the comment section, I'm a professional designer, I love your channel. And so that's really wonderful. So there are a lot of designers that watch and that's great. I would say that there is a very small minority of designers that, and they're probably maybe a little bit right, is they're just like, you're not a real designer, so why are you talking about design? And I'm like, yeah, that's totally fair. Like that's probably kind of true. But I just look at it as I have a different job than they do. And I respect their work and I hope they would respect mine. But I do think that sometimes there are professional designers that are just like, they know what's going on. And I think they really don't like the fact that I'm not actually really an interior designer and I don't do their work. So, you know, they're almost, I don't know if it's like they're threatened by it. I don't really know, but like that's a very, very small minority. So most professional designers are really lovely and they think it's great what I do, if they even know what I do, and they think it's really fun. And they understand and respect that it's a very different business than what they have. But then there are some that are just like, yeah, it's not, what you do is not actually a real job. And that's totally fair game. But I respect their work. And yes, I would absolutely hire an interior designer. I'm hiring an interior designer on my next project. Because I think there's just a lot that first of all, it's just nice to have different opinions, especially professional opinions on a big, massive project like this. So it's like asking, does an athlete have a coach? Well, I'm not comparing myself to an athlete, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you always need a coach. You know, great singers have vocal coaches. Like it's kind of like a designer is just another person on the team that does really great work and has a unique perspective. If they're able just to make the project 20% better, then that's really worth it, right? So designers are great. I appreciate and respect their work. I don't really live in that world. If I go to an interior design event, I feel very much like a fish out of water. You put me in a YouTuber event and I'm like, yeah, I get it. Thumbnails, like, woo, I know what I'm doing. There, I don't really, it's a little bit of a strange world, but I do love it. Like I do entering into the design world, but I see it very much as like I'm a media person covering that world, not like I'm a design person learning about how to make my clients' lives better because I don't have that. So I hope that answers your question. What were your 3 questions again? Would you consider how are your relationships? And do you get any feedback? There you go, I covered it. So yes, that's the situation. Okay, and then last question I'm gonna answer, because this is going on forever, is how much will you invest in your temporary home? Like, how much is it worth it to pay for furniture fixtures that may not work to fit your future build? I think that really depends on, it's very individual. First of all, how much money do you have? And how comfortable are you buying stuff that's just not gonna work for your new space? So if you've got bazillions of dollars and you don't care about the environment or the impact of cycling through these furniture pieces really way too quickly, then do what you want, right? It doesn't really matter then, does it? But, and also how long are you planning on staying there for? Like, what is temporary to you? Like, is temporary 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 4 years? Like 3 years? Like, oh, I plan on moving to a different country, you know, in 2 years' time. Okay, you might want, that 2 years is a pretty long time. So you might want to invest a little bit, like maybe put some holes in the wall, but maybe not completely do an entire full renovation and blow $500,000 on a reno, unless you have $500,000 to spend, in which case, feel free. I generally don't like the advice, like it's the whole do you renovate or do you build for resale? Generally, no, you should just build for yourself. However, I do think that is budget and timeline related, right? Like if you plan on living in a place for 6 months or a year, yeah, you might want to have a little bit of resale in mind. Otherwise, you're going to make some really stupid decisions that are going to cost you a lot of money. But again, that money factor depends on how badly you need that money. So I think it's really personal for each person. I will say for me, I moved into this home August of 2024. Okay, so I've been here for just over a year and a half. The house is coming down in February. All I did was deep clean, because this place was pretty tragic, and I painted the walls. That's pretty much it. I haven't really done anything else. My appliances drive me crazy. My dishwasher is falling apart, right? The fridge, ugly. Everything's like, it's ugly. I don't love it, but for me, spending a couple $100,000, even 50 grand, was not worth it for a place that I was gonna live in for a year and a half. I would rather take that money and put it towards the new place. So ultimately it's personal and it's individual for everybody. For me though, a year and a half being in a home didn't justify spending more than, you know, a couple of $1,000s basically on some sort of basic quality of life upgrades that I did. I didn't even change like the cabinet pulls. Like I did all the things in the channel that I say don't do. I've done the don't do's, because for me, it's individual and it just wasn't worth it, and I just kept my eye on the prize, which is the new place. So hope that helps. Okay, that's it for me today, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'm gonna wish you all a wonderful, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Have a good time, enjoy the time off, and if you are working, like I said at the beginning of the video, enjoy not working, but pretending that you are. I support it, good for you. And I'm gonna leave you here with my last year's Q&A, because if you guys enjoyed this one and you've got another 40 minutes or something on your hands, feel free to go see that video. I will see you all in the next one. Thanks a lot, bye.